What the Treaty of Versailles is. After the war, the number of casualties were enormous. The total number of deaths of all nations who fought in the war were estimated to have been 8.5 million, with 21 million being wounded. In order for this catastrophe to never occur again, the Treaty of Versailles was created. The Treaty of Versailles is a formal agreement between the United States, France, and Britain with Germany in 1918. The treaty actually began to take place 6 months after World War I ended, and it contained many terms in which Germany had to agree. The Allies formed harsh terms, making Germany give up their land and giving up their colonies, and so much more. The Germans were upset with the treaty, but they had no other choice but to agree, since the country itself was too weak to fight off the other countries.
The terms of the treaty was quite a quantity. In Article 231, which was the guilt clause, it blamed everything on the Germans. The French, British, and Americans made the Germans out to be the main cause for World War I. The Allies wanted compensation for the significant damage done to their civilian population, as well as to their land. Their form of compensation? Demand the heck out of Germany. They forced the Germans to surrender their land, colonies, and military. The Allies even took most of their money. And finally, the Allies declared no everlasting peace for the Germans.
U.S. President Woodrow Wilson devised the 14-point plan. This plan consisted of, you guessed it, 14 different points or primary concerns that needed to be solved when it came to devising a peace treaty. During a meeting with Congress on January 8, 1918, Wilson addressed his 14 points. These points addressed issues such as abolition of any secret treaties, equalizing the interests of colonists and native people of certain countries, and working towards free trade and freedom of the seas. Another point was to create a League of Nations. When the terms were discussed, France was very aggressive. France had essentially suffered many losses because of Germany, such as a fifth of their population and land, so their will to make Germany pay was much more stronger than the others. The United States did not want to join the League of Nations because they were not part of Europe, so they felt no need to join the League. They simply wanted their terms or Woodrow Wilson's 14-point plan to be used against Germany. However, they still wanted to be remained isolated from the rest. Britain, on the other hand, was very much calm and level-headed. They were willing to work with Germany with no intention of demanding that much from Germany.
The Germans were infuriated with the terms they had to abide by. Adolf Hitler took this anger and energy the Germans had and led them to war, thus beginning the start of World War II. The Germans were full of nationalism, and the terms of the treaty hurt and disrespected their nationalism. This anger was directed to take part in another catastrophic war.
As discussing the terms of the treaty, the United States was not in total favor of the terms. The terms of the treaty could not be finalized because the three who created the treaty, which was George Clemenceau, Woodrow Wilson, and David Lloyd, could not agree upon what exactly the treaty targeted. As well as Woodrow Wilson needed Republicans in the Senate to agree to his terms, but they were not around when the terms were negotiated, resulting in the Senate not voting in his favor. The U.S. Senate not taking part of the Treaty of Versailles was one of the major reasons the treaty was a complete failure.
The result of this epic failure ended with one of the most catastrophic events in history that killed millions of lives. Germany's economy was ruined. The start of World War II is when Adolf Hitler rose to power. He essentially blamed the Jews for all their losses and poor economy, since the Jews were the ones that took care of anything associated with finance. This is when the Holocaust began to take place. People of Jewish faith were thrown into concentration camps where they were either killed or treated poorly. Japan got involved and caused Pearl Harbor, killing thousands of Americans. In the end, the Treaty of Versailles' main purpose was to prevent another war, but instead it caused exactly that.